Welcome back, everybody. Last week we had some technical difficulties with the podcast. Recorded 2, and they were really great with Sarah and Lynn. And unfortunately, the recordings messed up, so I won't be able to post them on the podcast, but you'll have to check my blog for the highlights. Both of them shared some really, really great marketing tips and just general wisdom for life. So I'm disappointed you won't be able to tune in, but you can read the blog this week. And today I'm sitting here with my sister Emily, who is a recent graduate as of yesterday from Loyola University Chicago. Welcome.
Hello, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me on this.
So I think today a good place to start on the podcast is the student speaker. What was her name?
Maribel Flores.
Yeah. The student speaker at your graduation talked about her journey and her parents' journey from where in Mexico?
Guanajuato, Mexico.
Guanajuato, Mexico. When she was little, right?
Yeah.
So she came to this country when she was little. So I think that's an interesting place to start because you don't have that journey from Mexico, but like our parents do. So do you want to explain, like, how did it feel hearing her speech, and then how did that compare to your journey and like how you feel?
Yeah, so she talked about her parents' sacrifices of coming to America as immigrants with nothing, and then she also came to the U.S. As an immigrant herself, but I related to that just because, you know, Dad came here when he was 18 years old on his own, and he left his family really young. And then same with my mom. She came here when she was around 20, and she left her parents and some of her siblings, and she did have some of her older siblings here, so it was kind of just, like, heartwarming and, like, inspirational to hear her talk about her family, which is similar to my family, and just seeing how much sacrifices, like, my mom and dad did in order for me to, like, see me walk across the stage. So that was very special.
Did you feel, I wasn't sitting next to them, I was on the other end, so I'm sure they were both probably emotional just by the speech, because it was probably like heartwarming for them, bringing up their own sacrifices. But like as you were walking across the stage, because even for me, because I was the first generation, both mine too, just like that moment of pride and just like, so did you feel prideful or were you just tired? I was also really hungover.
Yeah, I felt really proud just because, like, it was 4 years of hard work, and, like, I didn't even know what I wanted to do when I started college, and I had no idea what college would be like when I started. And there were some moments where I didn't, like, I took a semester off, literally, to do, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and instead I interned, so I thought that was going to put me way behind, but I accomplished it, so I was very proud and just happy, and, like, that I did this for my parents, too, and for all my family.
Yeah. I think everybody is super proud that you did it. And honestly, I mean, if you look around the cousins, like, you're just, well, I was the oldest, but, and in Dad's family, one of the oldest, but, like, on your mom's side, you guys, you're kind of the oldest, but everybody's going to follow right behind, so you're setting an example.
Yeah, so like, on my mom's side, I'm the oldest who lives here in the U.S. who went to college and graduated college.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, and then I have a lot of younger cousins after me, and I hope they continue on.
Yeah, I think most of them are on the similar path so far. So do you know more about Dad's story? He doesn't talk about it a lot.
He doesn't talk about it a lot. I just know he left when he was around 18 years old. And he first moved, I want to say, I don't remember, some state. I feel like he was in Indiana first.
Oh.
And he lived with mi tío Alejandrino and mi tía Nelva because they were already married, and he worked a lot.
Okay.
And then mi tío Rolando was also here, but he didn't like it, so he moved back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He will tell that story like every chance he gets.
Yeah. So, but other than that, Dad doesn't really like to talk about it, but I know he's been like the main supporter for all of his siblings. The anchor, especially for when my grandparents were alive. But yeah. So.
And then your mom came over here with your older aunts and uncles?
Yeah, so most of my uncles were already here when my mom moved, but she came here with some friends, and they were living separately. And then they finally all, like, saved up enough money that they decided to move here to Aurora and rent a house together.
Oh my gosh.
You know, but just some of the stories my mom's told me, like, they literally would have to walk to work. Like, back then Aurora was pretty underdeveloped, so there was still a lot of cornfields.
Yeah.
And, like, walking to work and, like, in the rain. And one day they decided to get, like, someone asked them, like, so they can give them a ride, and it was nighttime, and they just said yes. And, like, then they realized that was probably a bad mistake because it was the middle of the night with some stranger.
Oh my gosh.
And hopefully, like, thankfully nothing happened, and he dropped them off safely, but things could have gone badly.
Yeah. I mean, and, like, that's really not that long ago, if you think about it. Like, if she's 20, so, like, 30 years ago-ish, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like a lifetime ago. I mean, 30 years is a long time, but... I mean, it's wild to think how far you can come in just a short time. Mm-hmm. So how do you think that has, like, that story, that history has, like, developed you as a person? Obviously, you're bilingual.
Yeah. I think just, it always, like, the back of my mind is how hard I have to work, and, like, anything's possible as long as, like, I try and, like, persevere, and just always wanting to, like, better myself, not just for me, but also just for my parents. Like, they worked so hard all their life to, like, give us just a comfortable life and all the things, like, we could possibly need, and even more than that. And so I want to know, like, that paid off for them. I don't want them to have to support me until I'm 50 years old.
Oh, geez. I know. That'll take time, too, but it'll happen. I feel like all 4 of us, have a similar drive to, like, work hard and pursue not the easiest path.
Yeah.
Like, just to keep working and know that it's going to come to fruition. And one thing we were talking on some of the podcasts last week is, like, how important it is to have a supportive home life, and not necessarily, like, my mom doesn't support everything I do, but she supports me.
Yeah.
And so to have, like, the space and the love in your home to be able to, like, grow and take risks, like when you went to Vietnam, which even yesterday Dad was like, I will never go there.
Yeah, no, Dad probably would have had a heart attack if he went to Vietnam.
Well, he said that about Ireland. Like, when I told him that I'd been accepted to go to Ireland, he was like, why would you ever go to Ireland?
Yeah, Dad's not a very adventurous person.
Which is interesting because he's the one who pioneered it to begin with. So do you think, like, there's a comedian on Netflix, oh my gosh, what's his name? Hassan. He's an Indian guy.
Yeah.
And have you seen it?
Yeah, I have seen some of
it.
It's
hilarious. And he talks about immigrant struggles and how he feels like the reason why his dad never celebrated his birthday was like, I moved you to America. That's your birthday. That's enough.
Yeah.
And so I feel like sometimes that's, for Dad, is kind of it. Mm-hmm. Like, he took the biggest adventure of his life 30, 40 years ago. And so now he doesn't.
Yeah, like, for Dad, like, America is home. Like, as much as he wants to say that he loves Mexico and wants to go back there, like...
He loves the ranch.
He loves the ranch, but he can never really fully fit in there back again. Like, it wouldn't be his home again. Like, this is what he knows, and this is what he's, like... most of his life has been spent in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at this point, like, he left when he was so young. He left his parents at such a young age. Like, he missed out on some of those moments with him. So I feel like this is now his home. So I think that's why. And now that he's here, he's like, why would you want to move to any other country?
Right. This
like,
is it.
For you to start over again when you already, like, have a life here.
Yeah.
Because I think he doesn't want us to, like, start over.
Right, because he already did that.
He already did that for us, I guess.
Right. And that's an interesting thing to have, because in order to develop as a person, you have to have your own set of risks and challenges and adventure. And so I feel like Dad, he works so hard to be able to say, like, okay, it's taken care of.
Yeah, now you can just live.
Yeah, just live. But each person needs their own experiences.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't necessarily... Well, he just doesn't want to see us struggle.
Yeah, I think, he's scared. He doesn't want to see us struggle, and he's scared of, like, some of the challenges we might face.
Yeah.
He wants to protect us from that.
Even though they're necessary.
Yeah.
As humans. I mean, you survived Vietnam.
I did. I'm here.
How was Vietnam? So how did you feel when you left for Vietnam?
When I left, I was excited, but I didn't really do a lot of research on it, so I was like, I just want to go there and whatever, figure it out. I got there and I was really excited. I thought everything was so cool and, like, so pretty, and I thought the people were great. And then as I got there and weeks went by, I was starting to, like, it was just a lot to deal with. Like, people, very overwhelming, people constantly, like, talking, being really loud, just staring at you, trying to get your attention and interact with you, and you have no idea what's going on. Or people just, like, I don't know, I feel like people were pretending to be nice, but they weren't really.
Yeah.
And I felt like I always had to be, like, have my guard up. Like, something was gonna happen.
Would they try to speak English with you?
Yeah, some people were nice. Like, I went to the supermarket right by school, and they would, like, if there was, I remember this couple, like, the little girl came up to me, and she's like, hello.
Oh, that's cute.
And then I was like, oh, hello. And then the girl was like, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And, like, the parents were so proud.
Because she was speaking English?
Yeah, because she was speaking English.
I think that's, like, a really nice gesture to do to somebody who's obviously visiting or not from here. I think that's nice. So in the beginning you were excited, and then how did you feel when you left?
When I left, I think I was used to it. Like, I accepted the culture as it was, and I was more open to it, and I didn't want to, like, judge or, like, be like, this sucks or this is horrible, because I actually really enjoyed it, and I think everyone that I met was genuinely kind and, like, welcoming, and I never had a necessarily bad experience other than getting my purse stolen, which is scary, but other than that, I enjoyed it. And I think it was really cool. And, like, their culture is very similar, I want to say, to, like, Mexican culture.
I really think so, too.
They're very family-oriented and, like, prideful and, like, families first.
And it revolves around food a lot of times. Food,
yeah. And, like, the way they live, some of, like, they respect their elders a lot, like, being respectful to people and, like, I don't know. I thought it was pretty similar.
So would you go back to visit?
To visit, definitely, yeah. To live, I don't think so. Just because the language is a big barrier and it's very hard to learn.
Yeah.
And even some things in the culture, like, they're way more reserved. They don't like to share a lot of their feelings, or, like, they don't.
Oh, okay.
Especially with strangers. So it takes a long time for them to, like, actually, like, you may think you know a person, but they really haven't welcomed you or opened up to you completely.
Do you think that seems kind of opposite to me in Mexican culture?
Yeah.
Unless it's, like, your aunts and they're gossiping. Because that's always going to happen.
Yeah.
Your aunt, like, all my aunts gossip. I mean, not, like, heavily, but it's just something,
but I feel like with their culture, like, even with their families, like, I remember, like, my host student, like, she told me that her brother and his girlfriend lived together, and the dad didn't know, and no one else in the family knew. Oh. And so, like, even at that, like, they don't share, like, personal stories within their family. And I thought that was so weird. She's like, well, why don't they know? She's like, well, that's, like, not allowed. Or, like, they wouldn't share, like, her parents didn't know some of the stuff she did, which, I mean, that's normal, but, like, they were, like, big milestones. So they didn't really get very personal within their family.
Yeah, that's definitely the opposite.
Because I feel like I share everything with my mom, and I talk to her all the time, and even dad knows everything. Well, right. All my aunts and uncles.
And, like, big milestones. I mean, moving in with your boyfriend is a pretty big milestone in your life, and I feel like you'd have to talk about it. Yeah. Even just if you were seeing someone and you were, like, out of the house regularly, they would be like, hey, where are you going? Who are you with? Like, yeah. So you'd have to tell them. So how do you, I mean, your mom is a pretty open person. I would say your whole family is. But Dad's family is not as open. So how do you think having, like, such strong women examples for your whole life has influenced you in your path?
I think it makes me very confident and, like, very assertive in who I am, and, like, and that way kind of stubborn sometimes. Like, if I decide on something, then that's what I'm going to stick to, especially if I decide against something. Right. I stick through it through and through. And so that's been I think being assertive, that's been a good thing that I've learned from my mom, and, like, speaking up and saying what I want to say. And just being, like, how important women are, and how, like, having really close-knit female friendships are, and, like, just there for support. And then just, like, having with my mom, how I see my mom and my aunts, how they tell each other everything, and then rely on each other for support. That's what I want, like, with you and Melissa. Right. But then also kind of with Dad's side, that he's very quiet and reserved. That's me a lot of the time. Like, it's, like, personal things, it's kind of hard for me to open up to. I'm not, like, as open as my mom is. I like to keep some things to myself, or it's hard for me to actually talk about my emotions.
I think that we all, to a certain extent, I mean, especially, like, Eddie and Melissa embody that, like, when it comes to, like, the really important personal stuff.
Yeah.
That we have a hard time opening up. But I think that all of us, and Eddie too, are, like, all open with each other.
Yeah,
I know that
we are.
sisters are different, and you text a lot more, you know, than, like, us and Eddie. But I think that as far as siblings go, we've always maintained, like, a really good, open communication.
Yeah.
Especially once you guys got older, and then we could, like, text and talk on the phone and stuff. So I think it's interesting. Your mom's family is interesting. Well, we should probably... So, my stepmom and Emily's mom's is one of 12.
Yeah.
And how many live here? 11? 10?
10.
10
Yeah.
live here. And then how many of them are women? I don't know how many aunts there are. Half. She's counting.
There were 7 women.
7 out of 12 are women. And then your grandma.
My grandma,
who's a very strong, assertive woman as well. And I would say Mama Leia was too.
Yeah, I would say, She
ran that house.
Yeah, she did.
So, and, like, my grandma on my mom's side, too, was also strong. So I think we're unique in that we've been surrounded by
women.
So many strong women. Like, all of my aunts on all sides. And then, like, the same for you. And then all of our grandmas. Mine, your mom, and Mama Leia.
And, like, even with Mama Wea, like, even though it was, like, a more traditional marriage, and, like, the sense where, like, Papa Jose he could say that he had the final say, but I think in general, Mama Wea, like, behind the scenes made sure things happened her way.
Yeah. And I feel like it was traditional in the sense that their chores were traditional.
Yeah, but she did things because she would say she wanted to do things, and she wouldn't do things if she didn't want to. Right,
and I still think they had a level of respect for their roles within the marriage. Yeah. And I think that is important because it doesn't, like, everyone's, if we go on the topic of marriage for a second, but everyone's marriage, like, it has to work for them.
Yeah.
And so that's what they agreed, and that was their partnership. And I do think it was a partnership.
Yeah.
In that case.
I wish I would have known Mama Wea more or spent more time with her, but from what I remember, she was always very assertive, and, like, if she said no, there's no way you could change her mind. She would, like, throw a fight and was ready to, like...
She was so tiny, but so feisty.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was kind of scary. Both of my mom's mom, too, and Mama Wea were very short.
Yeah.
And very tiny women, but, like, so strong. Like, you do not want to be smacked by one of those ladies.
Yeah, no, you did not.
And then Mama Leia, because we didn't go there a lot.
Yeah.
But she just was, like, our cousins probably have better stories, but she was just so, like, fierce.
Yeah. But then she was also so caring. Like, she always wanted to make sure everyone ate.
Yeah,
and, like, helping other people and, like, just welcoming. I remember when she was didn't really remember who we were.
Yeah.
she's like, I don't know who you guys are, but you're welcome to stay here as long as you want to.
And that, if she's to that point where she's not recognizing family, then that's, like, her truest self. Because there's no hiding anything about you at that point.
She's like, I can't believe your parents left you here, but you're welcome to stay here. You need to eat. And always wanting to feed us.
And Dad is just like Papa Jose.
Yeah, he is.
For sure. So now that you got a sociology degree, what do you think you're going to do? So you've worked with refugees, you've worked with kids, you've kind of with animals, like all the things you can love.
Yeah. I think the more I think about it, I don't know. I really like working directly with people and, like, in that way, seeing how I can help them. But now I think, especially after finishing my degree, I want to do more broader things and kind of help people in a sense where it's a long-term sustainable thing, not just a short, like, oh, here, I'm going to tutor you in English, or I'm going to help you with your, like, medical bills because you just moved to the U.S. I want to, like, actually, I think do policy work.
Oh, cool.
That's, like, now that I actually kind of know some of these, like, certain populations that are often
Yeah.
marginalized and like left out of the conversation about important issues. I want to like kind of advocate for them and do things that work on policies and solutions that will be long term and like are actually beneficial to them.
I read a quote today in this book I read like every so often. It's called Tools of Titans. But the excerpt was, the guy was saying if he could tell one thing to his 30-year-old self was that ideas don't mean anything. It's executing the ideas.
Yeah.
And then he went on to talk about how, like, that's what he would say to college students as they graduate. Like, it's great you have these big ideas. Because I feel like when you do graduate college, I mean, their whole future is in front of you. But then it's trying to figure out how to
actually do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think because I have so many interests and passions that I could, like, I don't want to get carried away from my actual, like, passion. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want, like, one little tiny thing, like, oh, yeah, like, I'm interested in, I don't know, community work, and I see a job that's with a big corporation. They're like, we do community work. Like, I don't want that to steer me away from my actual goal.
Like the money part of it?
Part of it, yeah.
So that's it. I feel like you are going, I think we have all thought this for a long time, that you are not going to be the breadwinner in the family because you're going to lead with your heart. Like, you're going to be an activist. Well, that's what I thought for a long time. You'd be an activist. But I think being a policymaker affects more change, for sure.
Yeah, I thought I would be doing, like, sitting down and being a hippie. And
like protesting.
Which
there's nothing wrong with that if you want to do that. But you have to get in at a level that you can actually make change. So understanding policy or even lobbying or something on a more political scale, I think, would benefit you more.
Yeah, I agree. I just have to find ways to, like, actually start doing that.
Yeah. Well, you just need one job to get in the door, and then it'll be...
I think that's why I'm scared to start applying for jobs, because I don't want to get a job and commit to it and then feel like I have to stay there.
But you don't.
I know, but I always, like, I hate quitting things.
It sucks, I know.
And I hate not committing, and so, like... I don't want to, like, oh, sorry, I'm leaving after 6 months because I don't like this.
Yeah, but if you don't like it, then they probably, like, to some degree, recognize you're not a fit for that position, too. Like, having a job is two-sided. It's like dating. Everyone has to fit for each other. You know, like, you have to be right for that role, and they have to be right for you, too. And when you quit, man, I'm so bad at quitting. Like, when I quit my job in Virginia Beach, because I'd been there 3 years and 9 months, I bawled my eyes out. Like, I was like...
To the person you're quitting, your manager?
I was, like, dry heaving in my boss's office. I was crying so hard. And she was like, it's okay. You can quit. And I was giving them a month notice. But I think part of that, too, was because quitting my job was the first step to leaving Virginia altogether.
Yeah, so that was a big change.
Yeah, so it was just like a big weight that I didn't...
That made it become real.
Yeah. And I didn't realize I'd been carrying the stress of, like, that decision and the move, and so it was the first step, and that was just a big deal. But then we were both crying, and then the rest of the office was like, are you guys okay? But then it was fine. Like, it was emotional, and so unless you're at a company for, like, years, it's what it is. It is what it is. Like, there's nobody stays at jobs for 30 years anymore.
True, yeah.
That's just, like, a way of the past.
I just want to make enough of a living where I can just support myself for the basics.
Yeah, you will, though. It's not that hard to do if you live frugally.
True, yeah.
You know, you just... And then you may do that for a while and then come back. And it's not... There's not necessarily one linear path. I mean, look at what I've gone everywhere. All over the place. Eddie, too.
Yeah. And
so I feel like that's one of the biggest stressors of college.
I know. Like, I think that's why I'm so stressed, because, like, since I can remember, I, like, go to college, figure it out, get a job right away, and start working, and now I'm like, well,
maybe I'll go to Mexico for a while.
That's not how it happens. I think I'm stressing myself out
over an arbitrary
over
goal.
something that I, like, no one told me to do these
Yeah.
things. It's just what I told myself.
Right.
So I just,
I mean, and
relax.
it's not like you haven't had jobs. You've had internships. You've had jobs.
Yeah. Just I don't want to be without a job for too long because I've never not had a job for more than like a month.
Yeah.
And so that scares me.
That is scary to think about, but I also think it's important, especially at this time, to take time for yourself and like really, really think about it. School's done.
Mm-hmm.
You need to like unplug from that.
Yeah.
And like, I think going to Mexico will be great.
Yeah. Hopefully that narrows down what my true interests are. Mm-hmm. Like I have so many, I want to really narrow down on what I can actually see myself doing.
So what are some of your favorite interests, or like the top?
My top, I would say education, working with kids.
Yeah.
Definitely doing immigration and refugee kind of work. Yeah, so education, and then with kids it'd be more like sometimes like even like juveniles and like the juvenile justice system.
Yeah, I think that's really fascinating stuff.
So I think those three areas are my biggest interest.
There's a woman, I cannot remember her name, Chelsea Hoke maybe? She was in a venture capitalist, like in California, making so much money, and then did some volunteer thing like in the prison system, and now she runs a venture capitalist strictly program that it's like a graduate program for the people incarcerated.
Yeah.
And it's like the people who are what's it called when you are in isolation?
Solitary confinement.
Yeah, for those guys, and for the ones on death row or like lifetimers, so they're going to be in there forever, and they actually get approval to like have a little ceremony. And for some of the guys, I heard her on a podcast, and then she has a book now too, but for some of the guys, like that was the first time they had seen daylight in 10 years.
Wow,
to graduate.
That's so sad.
Yeah, and it is sad, and her whole point is that, you know, a lot of the people that are in jail right now, or like a lot of the long-term sentences are just like stem from some silly mistake like that guy made when he was 18. And if we were if any one of us was judged by the biggest mistake we made like in our 20s, oh my gosh, you know, how could you imagine if that's how they introduce you every time, or like if you had to write that on every single job application you ever filled out, like, oh, I should have been in jail for this. Yeah. Or like, so I think that's really powerful work.
Yeah, I think our immigration system and our prison, the criminal justice system, are two of our biggest flaws in this country.
Yeah.
And even our education system, because like that's leads a lot of people, especially a lot of young kids, into the prison system just because of some laws.
Right.
And because we are so focused on like punishing them for mistakes instead of like trying to help them and correcting their behavior, actually providing them with the tools they need to like, I don't know, better them or keep them away from some of these things.
Right. Well, and just like one basic tool is a constant like good education. Yeah. Like consistent across all, which is hard to do. It's not consistent in the fact that like every student gets the same education, but just like the same access. Yeah. And that's what is not happening right now. The same access to funds, the same access to books or supplies. Or good teachers. Good teachers. I mean, and I feel like if you were to get into the justice system or the educational system, people that I know that have gotten into it, it just like becomes your whole life because you see so many problems, and it just is a lifelong battle. Yeah, it is. It's not going to fix itself in one day. Yeah. True. So you have time to think about that in Mexico. So now, what is your plan, like your immediate plan?
For this summer? Yeah. So I'm going to stay in Chicago for right before until I leave for Mexico, just working where I work now. Yeah. And then, I don't know, go to Mexico and like hang out with my family, hang out with you guys, and I think I want to do a little bit of traveling while I'm there. Around Mexico, but we'll have to see like how safe it is and how comfortable I feel doing it by myself. If not, just chilling with my grandma.
Yeah, but grandmas have the best advice.
Yeah.
Or just, and I really think too, if you guys can get outside, like she's gonna put you to work probably, and that just, nothing clears your head better than that.
And I know like my grandma likes to like, she has her daily routines of like cleaning and feeding the chickens in the morning, and then she goes and like hangs out with her friends or like visits like friends that are sick or someone she knows that needs something. So I think just going with her, accompanying her on these trips will be nice.
I think you'll learn a lot that way too. One thing you said earlier, which we were talking about with the aunt, like all of our aunts too, is that it's interesting when you have families so big as ours that like your sisters become your best friends. Like we are all very close, and I think as we all, me, you, and Melissa and Eddie get older, we'll continue to get closer. Yeah. But like watching your like our aunts and your mom's side, they all have just been best friends. Yeah. Like, it's so cool.
And, like, they get in fights, but they can't go longer than a day without talking to each other.
Well, and they're kind of like, you're a bitch, let's move on. You know? It's not these big, huge... like
just realizing that they all know each other and they all have flaws, but...
When you're with people as often as they are, that's natural. But one thing and that's been a reoccurring theme lately in the podcasts, in the conference I attended, and that's the importance of friends. And close friendships and honest friendships, like people who are going to call you on your shit, but also be there to support you and not like be catty or jealous or undermine you. So I know in high school you struggled a little bit with close friends, right?
Yeah, I did.
But I feel like as soon as you got to college, you made some really good friendships.
Like in high school, I just had like a lot of friends that I like grew up with like in elementary school and middle school, but as like we got older, like we had different interests and they had their own friend groups. So I never had like an actual friend group in high school. Right. And so then going to college, the first two friends I made, Katie and Kayla, like they have been my like best friends throughout the entire college, and like we all have very different interests and like come from really different backgrounds, but we've all done our own thing in college, but at the end of the day, like, we still always talk and, like, meet up, and those are the people that I've stuck with. And then now, like, I became really close friends with my Vietnam friends. Like, all of them. Those are the people that I would say I hung out the most this year. And I think we've all gotten so comfortable with each other, and we were, like, in difficult situations in Vietnam, so we've seen, like, the ugliest side of each other that we're able to, like, really be honest. And, at the end of the day, we probably get annoyed with each other, but I think we're able to call each other out on that.
I think that's important, is to go through some like ugly real life stuff, whether it's like you got your purse snatched. I mean, that was really scary. Or just traveling with someone in general, whether it's like we are in for an adventure. We're all traveling to Mexico together, but poor Melissa is just gonna die.
She's probably not going to talk to us.
She's not going to speak to us for like the whole time.
I know.
But I think there's a lot to be said for going through those experiences with somebody else.
Yeah, and I would say, like, I'm really thankful for, like, the friendships I've made and, like, maintain all throughout, like, my time at Loyola. Like, they have been very solid, strong friendships, and they've mostly been with females. Like, just a very, like, we're all very supportive of each other and like love each other and like, but also hold each other accountable,
which is
like,
important,
and know that we can all do better and like we need to work on ourselves constantly.
Do you guys have a group chat?
We do, yeah.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah. Sometimes it's like we talk about the most random things.
Yeah, we do too.
Or sometimes like people get catty, not catty, but just like things come up. It's like, oh, we shouldn't be talking about this on a group chat.
Yeah.
Face to face. But yeah.
Group chats are so fun, and I have one from like my hometown girls, and then one for the Virginia crew, and it's just fun. And sometimes like you get off on these tangents. Like when we were waiting for Kate and Ryan's baby to arrive, we're all just tied to our phones because we wanted, like, I was getting updates, so I was updating them, and so we were just connected. And then Kate was in labor at this point, and her sister sent me a selfie of her and Kate and Ryan, And so I sent one back, just like thumbs up, smiley face. And then I sent everything to the group chat. And then the girls in the group chat started sending the same pose I did. And so we were flooding Kate with all of these selfies. And it was really cool.
Yeah, it's nice to know, like, you guys were all there for Kate.
Yeah, we were literally
and
just
able to share
around.
each other and, like,
yeah,
get updates on that.
And support. And I think it's important. And I think that that's happening on a larger scale, too. Women are trying to support women more, which is good, but we can't forget about the guys either.
Yeah,
like,
no.
they're still important. They're necessary.
Even though they're kind of annoying.
Yeah, that's not going to change.
Yeah, true.
They're still necessary.
Yeah.
And I think you can have good relationships with guys, and I think guys have group chats. I know guys have group chats.
Yeah, they do.
And it's like similar bonding things, you know, so I think just keeping those friends, because once you get older and you get busier and like you guys are all going to get real jobs, it's going to get a lot harder.
Yeah, that's what we've talked about. Like, we have to, like, make sure, like, we keep each other updated. And I know a lot of us won't be living in the same city anymore. So, like, actually making time to, like, schedule in time to see each other, or, like, time to FaceTime.
Yep.
And, like, just keeping each other updated on, like, the little things that we do.
And that really matters a lot. When I lived in Virginia, Laura and I would trade voicemails. Our schedules were different just enough, so like I'd leave her a voicemail on the way to work, and then I'd listen to hers when I got off. And so that's honestly what we're doing now too, because we're both so busy.
Yeah.
So I think just like finding whatever ways you connect best.
Yeah. And then, I mean, there's different types of friends. Like, I have friends that, like, I can go a long time without seeing them.
Yeah.
And, like, when we see each other, it's always nice and fun, but they're not my closest friends.
Right.
And then there's also friends that, like, I talk to every day all the time, and maybe, like, as we get more busy, we won't do that, but just still sharing, like, little things once in a while.
Yeah, I think that's good. And then there are friends you just want to hang out with. Like, you may not talk at all until you see each other face to face. Yeah, and then it's like, cool. Right where
those
you left
are nice.
off.
Yeah, those are nice too.
Yeah, that is really nice too. So what is one thing you're most excited about now that you've graduated?
Just starting my life and, like, doing things. I don't know, just actually living my life and not having to do things because, like, for school or because I'm trying to, like...
Yeah. No homework?
No homework.
That is really nice.
I'm just seeing, like, what my life turns out to be.
It's
exciting.
exciting.
Like, doing hobbies or, like, doing activities, because this is part of my life now.
What do you think you're going to join?
I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot. The other day I was thinking maybe I'll join a cooking class, because I want to I know how to cook, but I want to learn how to, like, chop vegetables.
I need to do that too.
And, like, how to do different little skills.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, and I think I still want to do, like, tutoring or, like, join an after-school program and volunteer.
I think volunteering is really important too. I joined a bowling league.
I cannot join a bowling league.
It was a 6-month bowling league that met on Mondays. And the only reason we did it was because you paid like $10 every week.
Yeah.
But then at the end you got a travel voucher. And so we were like, okay, there were 8 or 12 of us that did it. We had 2 teams. And which is cool. You get to see, you have a weekly event to see your friends. And we had 2 teams, and we would go every Monday and bowl. And the whole plan was to take our travel vouchers and go on this big group trip together. And I don't even know where mine went. Like,
you never did it?
No.
Oh.
None of us even used our tickets. Period. Like, they all probably got recycled.
You just probably just bowled for fun, just to see each
Yeah.
other. Yeah, I don't know what else I would join.
It was fun.
Maybe, like, a summer softball league. You can't play softball.
Kickball.
Kickball. There we go.
I think Eddie's going to start a rec league
Really?
in Pilsen.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We've been talking about it.
I'm also excited just to read for fun. I haven't really read for fun since high school.
Yeah, you can't do that in college.
Yeah,
because
no.
you're reading for school.
Yeah. Even all, like, the books I had to read for class that I didn't really read or just skim through. I'm excited to read those, because those are interesting.
Yeah, I went back and read some good books after college.
Yeah.
And what is one thing you're most scared about?
The uncertainty of what my life will actually be like, or what job I will have, or how long I'll go without having a job.
I don't think you'll go very long without having a job. I do think that your life will probably not turn out how you think it will right now.
Yeah. I have no idea what I think. Sometimes I think my life will be really fun and glamorous, but then I'm like, no.
Glamorous?
Yeah. But then I'm like, that can't happen just because of the things I'm interested in and the career path I'm interested in. That's probably not going to happen.
I think Melissa's going to have the most glamorous life, probably. We don't get to have any glamour.
True. I just want to travel more. Definitely travel more.
Yeah.
And so
I
that's
think
the only thing I really want to do is make sure I'm traveling.
Do you think you would get a job where you travel?
I think about that all the time, whether I want to do a job here in the U.S., very specific, locally based, or if I want to do a more international job. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It'd be great to do a job where I can travel, but then I don't know. I want to see progress in the work I'm doing. Yeah. And I feel like with an international job, that's just me adding or doing tasks.
Yeah.
Certain tasks, not really contributing too much.
To the community.
To the community, yeah. So I think for now it'll probably be more national or local level.
Yeah. I do think for that type of work it's important to really be involved in the community so you can understand how the community works. Like Chicago, you've lived there, so you have a pretty good idea of it.
But I also want to, as much as I love Chicago and I want to work in Chicago, I do want to live somewhere else just for a little bit. Just to experience something new.
Another city, state,
or
country?
Both.
All of it?
All of it.
I think that's good. And I think the time to do it is now. Mm-hmm. Because you'll get to an age where you'll want to be back with your family. Like I did, And you'll get to a point when you're thinking of having your own family or, parents are getting older, aunts are getting older, maybe other family members are having kids. Mm-hmm. Because that will happen eventually.
Yeah, so hopefully maybe in the next year be living somewhere else.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Maybe start small, just to a different state and then move from there.
Oh my god, what's Dad gonna do if you and Melissa move?
I don't know. Well, he already knows that I'm probably not gonna live here.
I think that's really why he's pushing for this Mexico trip.
Yeah.
Because we're all here right now. When you moved, so Eddie was in Pilsen. You had left for school, and Melissa was working and going to school full time. He called me in Virginia, and he was so sad. And I said, Dad, what's wrong? And he's like, I'm just so sad, Randy. It's just me and Bailey. What? Eddie and Emily are an hour away. You still have your wife, and Melissa still lives there.
Yeah.
He was so dramatic about it.
He just felt lonely.
Yeah. And I wonder, I'm sure, and maybe that's one of the reasons he doesn't talk about when he came over here, because it's too hard to think about what an impact that had on Mama Way and Papa Jose.
Mm-hmm. Just
how hard it was for them to see him leave.
To see him leave, yeah, true. Because he was the youngest son.
But what made it about him that was different,
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was always, because he was a baby, he was always more not spoiled, but coddled and protected. Mm. And then I think he didn't really see himself. He wanted more than just what he had in the ranch.
Right. He saw a bigger opportunity. And I think that's also why he feels such a responsibility for his family, because he was basically raised and by all of his aunts and not by his aunts, by all of his sisters and brothers, that he feels like he had to give back to them in a way. That's interesting. Right. So then Elvia would feel, she was the actual baby.
Yeah, she was the actual baby.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Because you do feel that way.
With Melissa?
Well, I think just if you, even, I'm not the youngest, but just, having a big family that is supportive, you feel like you need to give back.
Yeah.
Or, just not mess up.
I think not mess up and, make them proud, but also kind of, I don't know, find ways to, thank them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Make them proud.
Make them proud, and I just don't want them to let them down.
Yeah.
But I don't know how low I would have to go to let them down.
That's the fact. I mean, you don't have to, like, be a CEO.
Yeah.
Like, not becoming a CEO or having a glamorous life is not going to let them down.
No, because they know that's not what we're going to do. But I think regardless, they'll be proud, but just, like, I don't know.
I honestly think we're so fortunate to come from these families that really, truly just, like, want us to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you wanted to be a janitor.
Yeah, as long as you're happy doing that.
Yeah, right. And you can, like, support your family. They would say, okay.
And I always get, like, annoyed at my mom. Like, if only you would have been more strict telling me that I had to do this, I would have less, like, interest that I'm like, oh, I can do this and this and this.
Yeah, but that's really creative.
Because my mom and dad just let me be. Like, you can do whatever you want to do.
Right.
As long as you're happy and good at it.
And then,
so we didn't grow up like, you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer, you have to do this. They're like, do whatever you want to do.
Do you have friends that had parents like that?
Mm-hmm. That they're really strict. Like, you have to get, like, a science degree or blah, blah, blah. I've heard some people being like, yeah, my grandparents wouldn't pay for my college if I didn't do this or do that. I'm like, well, no, not me.
Wow.
Yeah, which is sad because then you don't have any, like, choice in that, and maybe that's not what you really want to do.
Well, yeah, and then you could be resentful for the rest of your life.
So we just get to do whatever we want to do.
Okay, sorry about that. Our mom had to come down. Not sure if you heard that. We are currently in the basement at my dad's house. And we tried to tell them that we were recording a podcast, but I don't really think
they understood what was going on.
So hopefully you heard that. So we were just talking about the pressures of living up to your, like, but it's not even living up to your family's expectations. It's like living up to your own expectations for your family.
Yeah. I think we have certain things that we feel like we have to do in order to make our family proud, but I think overall our family just wants to see us happy, and, like, regardless, we're better off and we have way more opportunities than they ever had growing up.
Right. Just because they're here.
It's just the pressures we put on ourselves, I would say.
But almost to, like, live up to that opportunity.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to, like, squander it or throw it away. Like, that would be... And, you know, because even on my mom's side, they didn't immigrate over here, but, like, you know, for my grandpa to move out of West Virginia to Illinois, like, he described it as, like, clawing his way out of the hills.
Yeah. Because
it was so hard, and so many people get stuck in that environment. So they still had someone that, like, a similar, definitely a very similar, like, work ethic and mentality of just working hard and providing opportunity for your family. So then you feel like you have to live up to all of that, which can put a lot of pressure on somebody. So how do you... Well, I guess you're going to take a little mini break.
Yeah, I think just for the summer.
Yeah.
Take a little break and just really focus on...
Now the dog is here.
Oh, gosh.
Bailey.
Just focus on myself and, like, figure out what things that truly make me happy and, like, work on... Now that I get to really plan out my life and do things for myself, see what I'm interested in.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, that's always, and those things are going to change. What makes you happy now, or what, you know, like, influences you now will not be the same in 5 years or even 10 years. And then when you get 10 years down the road and you look back and you're like, damn, this is not where I thought I was going to be at age 30. But that's okay, too.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing, like, we set these arbitrary kind of, like, bars for ourselves. And so, just because you don't hit, like, a certain mark. I feel like so many people when you're younger, like, I'm going to be married with kids by 28.
No, that's what I used to think, but I think definitely now I will still be single at age 30.
Hey, welcome to the club, sister.
But hopefully in a job that I enjoy and, like, doing well for myself.
I think that's the best way to put it. Just doing well for yourself, whatever that means for you.
Yeah, whatever, exactly.
And don't compare yourself to everybody else's, like, highlights either, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone takes a different path.
Yeah, so just doing things that I enjoy doing and doing things because I want to do them, not because I feel like I need to
Right.
have a certain type of lifestyle.
Right, which is an important, well, and for some people that's what motivates them. They want to have a certain type of lifestyle, and so that becomes their motivating factor. But I think you are more intrinsically motivated by like helping others, and there are different things that motivate you.
Yeah. I think being happy for myself. And I don't want to be like stuck, feeling like I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Like I want to like constantly be doing things to like improve myself. And yeah, working. Whatever I do, I never want it to be like whatever career I do, I never want it to have like a negative impact on someone or a certain community or like harming others instead of actually doing good.
I think that's good. And then when you say negative impact on somebody, that could also mean your family too.
Yeah.
If you're working crazy days and long, shifts. So I think it's important to keep those things in mind.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up now that the dog is here and the whole family is here. So I think we are so proud of you.
Thank you.
You did it. And I really hope that you just take the time in Mexico to unplug.
Yeah,
And the
hopefully
rest
it'll
will
be
fall
good.
into
Yeah.
place.
I'm excited to see what happens from now on.
Yes. All right, well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.